People were in awe as a total solar eclipse reached the US over Texas on Monday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has insisted a military invasion of Rafah will happen despite warnings from the US. People in the US were amazed as a total solar eclipse reached the US over Texas on Monday. It then raced across the US and eastern Canada before exiting the Atlantic. 15 US states got a chance to see the full eclipse. The eclipse's path of totality stretched from Mazatlan, Mexico to Newfoundland, an area that is home to 44 million people.
For us, there was something special about being kind of out here in the woods, up on a hill, watching it the way you might have watched it 10,000 or 100,000 years ago. There's a way in which the experience we just had is the exact same experience that people have been having since the dawn of human beings.
During Monday's full eclipse, the moon slipped right in front of the sun, entirely blocking it. The result was a sort of twilight with only the sun's outer corona visible. Residents, enthusiasts, experts, and even a NASA delegation traveled to Mazatlan, Mexico to watch the 4.5-minute spectacle. The US has warned Israel against a military invasion of Rafah, saying it would have an enormously harmful effect. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has insisted it will happen. International watchers are concerned for displaced Palestinians in the southern border city.
We have made clear to Israel that we think a full-scale military invasion of Rafah would have an enormously harmful effect on those civilians, and that it would ultimately hurt Israel's security. So it's not just a question of Israel presenting a plan to us. We have made clear to them that we think that there is a better way to achieve what is a legitimate goal, which is to degrade and dismantle and defeat the Hamas battalions that still remain in Rafah.
Conflicting reports have emerged on Gaza ceasefire talks in Cairo. Egyptian media is reporting significant progress, but Hamas and Israeli officials say no agreement is close. The UN Security Council referred the Palestinian Authority's application to become a full UN member to the Committee on the Admission of New Members on Monday, where it will be considered. Palestinians returned to the southern city of Khan Yunis on Monday to salvage what they could from the destruction, a day after the Israeli military announced its withdrawal. The war, according to local health authorities, has killed more than 33,000 Palestinians and displaced most of the territory's 2.3 million people. Russians in the city of Orsk held a rare protest on Monday to call for compensation after a dam collapsed and flooded the Orenburg region near the Kazakhstan border. Protests are an unusual sight in Russia amid a crackdown on dissent following Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Hundreds gathered in front of the administrative building in Orsk, Russian state news agency TASS said. Following the protest, TASS reported that the region's governor promised compensation payments of approximately €100 per month for 6 months to people forced out of their homes. The flood-hit area is being evacuated as water levels continue to rise.
11 attacks were repelled and 16 ships escorted in the Red Sea by the vessels involved in Operation Aspides. This is the first assessment of the EU mission that was launched 2 months ago to protect trade in the Suez Canal. Since the Israel-Hamas war started, Houthi rebels have launched 80 attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, some of them with casualties. The Iranian-backed rebel group considers Israel an enemy, and the attacks were in response to the war. Because of the attacks, merchandise ships need 10 to 14 more days of travel to reach Europe, doubling costs.
The Houthis clearly position themselves, it's not a secret, as defenders of the Palestinian cause. And this certainly has given them increased popularity in the wide Muslim world. From our side, we just want to ensure freedom and security of navigation and we hope that we could control the situation and this will not expand to a wider geographical zone.
13% of world trade passes through the Red Sea. Because of the attacks, today only half of the 70 ships are now crossing the Suez Canal. 4 EU member states have warships in the area and 19 are contributing to the operation. As of the moment, European ships have shot down 9 unmanned aerial vehicles, 1 unmanned surface vessel and 4 ballistic missiles. The mandate of Aspides is defensive, protecting ships under attack and accompanying vessels.
We are not attacking them, though we could, let's say, but we have a different mandate. So if you see it on the military perspective, what we are doing is the worst case, let's say. It's the more difficult part. We have to wait all the time, being shot at. So you have to bear that in mind. So we are patient and we are stick to our mandate.
After almost 2 months, the commander said that there is now better coordination with other missions in the area, such as the mainly American Operation Prosperity Guardian.
Transnational lists in the European Union are a long-held dream that have not turned into reality. Citizens of the 27 member countries will choose only among their country's candidates, as it has always been in the upcoming June European elections. But some parties would like to change this rule.
I think many citizens are actually quite excited by the idea, but it has been blocked by national politicians who were not excited by the idea that citizens could actually themselves choose from European candidates. But I'm sure it's the future. It will come. If it's not in 2024, then 2029.
In 2022, the European Parliament approved to establish a transnational college, electing a group of 28 MEPs of different nationalities based on the votes of all European citizens. But EU governments did not accept the push. Now, the Volt Party, which presents the same electoral program in 16 different countries, is setting up a symbolic transnational list.
This list that we're forming is not really going to be able to run. However, for us, it was very important to put it out as a symbol of the kind of Europe we want to see. And in fact, you will notice that in our list, we also foresee candidates from Albania, which is not a member state, but it's a candidate to become.
Transnational lists are seen as a way to create a political debate and competition at a European level instead of 27 different ones. For this reason, they face strong opposition from nationalist and sovereignist parties, which are on the rise in the European elections as popularity for the far right surges.
The victory of the Social Democrat Peter Pellegrini in Slovakia's presidential election has largely reinforced the ruling party led by Robert Fico. Fico's party is widely considered Eurosceptic and supporting of Russian narratives.
The election result means that both the government and the president will be from the same political spectrum. Peter Pellegrini, he framed his campaign as if he is elected, there will be a calm and quiet situation for the government, which obviously will be following the elections and following the fact that Peter Pellegrini is one of the coalition leaders. His party is the key coalition player, and now he'll be the coalition president sitting in the presidential office and very probably not harming the government or not putting any obstacles in front of the government's agenda.
The populist government of Robert Fico took office last October on a campaign of anti-EU and migration rhetoric. Pellegrini defeated a pro-Western diplomat, Ivan Korczak, who promised stronger ties with the EU partners. He also campaigned to reclaim Slovakia's sovereignty. Pellegrini accused his opponent of wanting to drag Slovakia into war by supporting Kyiv. According to experts, he has yet to define a clear stance on several issues.
also during his last night's speech, he still expressed himself as being committed pro-European, committed pro-NATO, but still said that we need to protect the Slovakian interests. So still playing this two-side or two-face role. So we'll see how he's gonna turn up once he's the president.
Pellegrini won the vote with 53% to become Slovakia's president.
The Czech Republic has announced a new plan to abandon its dependence on carbon energy. The country will invest 6 billion euros in 4 new nuclear reactors. The investment marks one of the biggest since the fall of the socialist system almost 35 years ago. The Czech government is now looking for the best deal and will conclude the transition in June 2024. The Czech Republic is a traditional carbon energy exporter, with the country now looking towards nuclear.
Pokud ta cena, která nabídnou ty soutěžící, bude taková, která umožní dlouhodobě stabilní, nízké ceny energie jak pro občany, tak pro rozvoj energetiky a průmyslu, tak určitě budoucnost je v obou dvou těchto jaderných elektrárnách navýšit tento výkon a zkombinovat to s obnovitelnými zdroji.
According to an exclusive Ipsos Euronews poll, the Czech people do not consider climate change a high priority. 34% believe climate change is a priority, while 21% is against it.